Now, some of this might be stating the obvious, but I'm now going to go through the equipment that you need to model or drape blocks onto the stand. The first is very obvious because you're going to need a dress stand. The second is you'll need calico, which is the standard cotton woven cloth that designers use predominantly for modelling on the stand. Then you need a tape measure, and I'll be talking about measurements both in metric and imperial, so it's quite handy having one that does say both. The next thing you need are scissors. You need fabric and paper scissors, and don't get them muddled up, because the minute that you cut paper with your fabric scissors, you blunt them, and it's a waste of money because they're never the same again. Following on, you need a tracing wheel, which looks like that. And the spikier the wheelie bit, the better actually, because it transfers the marks through, obviously, much more easily, and you don't have to press so hard. And in conjunction with your tracing wheel, I've only got a small one, but for goodness sake, have a self-healing mat, because otherwise you really will damage the surface that you trace onto. You'll wreck it. Important to have a ruler. Now, this is a specialist ruler called a Pattern Master, and I love it to bits because it's got calibrated measurements in every direction. It's got calibrations from 1 to 6 centimeters. It's only metric, this one, and it's got all the degree lines on it that you need, and it's got French curve and is available from Moreplan in London. I don't know if they do imperial versions of them, but it is a brilliant bit of kit. Weights. These weights I was given, and they're very useful, but you can actually use baked bean tins. They don't have to be professional weights, just improvise. You need sellotape or masking tape in case you need to join bits of paper, and I tend to use spot and cross paper, which is marked with an inch or 2.5 centimetre square. It's just because I'm lazy, basically. It's a very useful tool to have it pre-marked, but you can use brown paper or plain paper. It really doesn't matter. Notches. Notches give you the professional nip in on the pattern, and I will show you how they're used. But they are not vital. You don't have to have a pair of notches. You can just as easily use scissors to give the mark that you need to tell you on your pattern what goes where. And I will be showing you the method of using scissors in the lessons. Pins. I like long ones with coloured ends because I find them easier to fit with when I'm dealing with clients' commissions on real clothes. There are various schools of thoughts about this. A lot of colleges insist on using ordinary dressmaking pins, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. It's a personal preference, and I stick with my pretty ones because I like them. And finally, pencils are very, very important. In this series of lessons, you'll notice I've used biro. Please don't, because it makes your pattern lines it makes them inaccurate. You need to mark with pencil, and you need to do your subsequent patterns with hard pencils, H3 preferably, and then you'll have an accurate, neat, tidy pattern. If you use biro or felt tip, it causes your lines on your pattern to bleed, and any further measurements that you add on from that will be inaccurate. You'll also need a fine line coloured felt tip. Doesn't matter what colour it is, I happen to use green one. And you need ordinary dressmaking pins for fixing the tapes or ribbons, whichever you're using, down the stand. You don't want to have something with a large head sticking up and getting in the way. And for styling purposes, you need narrow ribbon. This is 1/8 of an inch wide, about 4 mil.